Okay, welcome to North Pole TV. My name is Mike Dorn. I'm your host, and today we're at a mall in Mississauga called Erin Mills Town Center. I'll give you a quick pan around here. It's a very big mall. It goes way back there. Okay. So I'm in the parking lot because I know from experience that when you go inside these malls, they don't want you filming. They have the right to kick me off the parking lot too, which I'm hoping they won't do. But I'm hoping to get at least enough interviews to make something of a video before something like that happens. Today we're going to be asking questions about free speech in Canada. The three questions are, I need to mention, this mall is in Khalid's riding. That's a Canadian parliamentary MP who tabled a motion to study Islamophobia in Canada and quell anybody who is Islamophobic. Look up the definition of quell. It's not pretty. It's very violent. So this is a very dangerous motion. It aims at limiting free speech, even though they say, oh, no, it doesn't. Exactly what it's doing. It's going to try to limit criticism of Islam and other religions too. But other religions don't ask or need it. It's only Islam that requires this special treatment and so thin-skinned that they can't take criticism. People cut up Jesus all the time, and you don't see Christians chopping their heads off or anything like that. So anyway, we're going to be asking people three questions. Okay, the first question is, which would you say is more important to you, free speech or political correctness? Free speech or political correctness? I better get that out smoother. And the second question is, I'll remind people of the motion M-103 and ask them if they think that such a motion belongs in a country with values like Canada, democratic country in Canada that has free speech and openness. We don't believe in hiding facts. That's not the way we work. And we believe that criticism of ideas, which is all religion is, any religion is just an idea, it's just a theory, it's not proven. Okay, so if people have an unproven theory in their head, we are allowed to critique it. It's like if they think that if someone has a religion of eating babies, well, we can critique that, right? All right. The third question would be if M-103 becomes law, because right now it's not law, it's a motion, okay, but if it becomes law, would they obey that law? So thanks for tuning in, and let's see what we get here. Here come some ladies. So these ladies have been kind enough to ask or agree to the poll, so we'll start with them here. Okay, so we'll start left to right. The first question is, which is more important to you, political correctness or free speech?
I think they're both important. Just needs to be balanced.
Okay, well, you got to have one or the other. You can't.
Free speech, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd go with free speech.
Free speech, okay. Now, second question is, I'm confused. Second question is, have you heard of motion M-103? Motion M-103. The parliamentary MP for this area, Khalid, she put forth a motion to Parliament, which they accepted, that would call for the study of Islamophobia. Okay, they want to study Islamophobia and punish anybody who is Islamophobic. They use the word quell, which is a violent word, and this is, I could even show you the document. So what I'm asking is if you think a law like that belongs in a democratic, free, open society like Canada.
For me, I think it's yes. Yeah.
I'd go with yes too.
Okay, and so I guess the next question is fairly obvious. If it becomes law, would you obey that law?
Yeah.
You would. Oh, excuse me. Yes.
Because it also helps prevent discrimination against Muslims.
By telling people they can't talk about Muslims, that's going to prevent discrimination against Muslims?
Well, prevent the negative discussion or comments about it.
By putting them in jail. Anybody who speaks negatively about Islam goes in jail. And you feel, how long have you been a Canadian?
10 years.
And where did you come from before that?
Philippines.
Okay. Philippines, okay. And you as well? So we have a man here who's going to try the three questions. He thinks his English isn't so good, but I think it's all right. Okay, the first question is, sir, which is more important? What would you say is more important to you, free speech or political correctness?
Political correctness.
That's more important to you than. That's more.
The second one, the second option.
That's more important to you than free speech. Okay. So the second question is, have you heard of motion M-103, which is before Parliament right now? It's a motion to stop people from criticizing religions, specifically mentioning Islam.
Sorry, the question is?
There is a motion before Parliament, a legal, that's going to become law. They want to make it a law in Parliament, Canada Parliament. They want to make it a law to stop people from criticizing Islam. They want to make that law, so you go to jail for criticizing Islam. This is what it would become. Are you in favor of that, or no? Do you think that belongs in Canada, that kind of law? Does that kind of the law belong in Canada?
I think it's okay, because the Canada is constructed with immigrants, no?
Yeah, we're not. But Islam isn't a race. Islam is an idea. It's a theory, an unproven theory.
Yeah.
We should have the rights to question theories, should we not? People question Jesus Christ all the time, and nobody raises an eyebrow. But it's only when we criticize Islam that things become problematic. It's okay. You're English. Okay. Third question is, if they do make it a law that you're not allowed to criticize Islam, that you would go to jail for criticizing Islam, would you obey that law?
And in this case, I think it is exaggerate. Exaggerate?
Exaggerate?
Yes, because it's any people for any comment. I think it's a hard penalty if this person who criticized, for example, in this case, the Islam, to go to the jail. I think it's exaggerate, probably.
Exaggerate.
Yeah.
But according to the law, it is possible. All right. Thank you for your time, sir. By the way, the shirts are on sale, or for sale. It says a little bit of North Pole TV with the logo with the walrus there. Yeah, $30. I have to pay quite a bit for them myself because I'm just a small operator at this point. Hopefully they'll get cheaper eventually, but yeah, $30 and you can have one of these delivered right to you. Which would you say is more important to you, free speech or political correctness?
Free speech.
Okay. And have you heard of motion M-103, which is the MP for this riding that this mall is in, Iqra Khalid? She's put forth a motion which was accepted by Parliament to study Islamophobia and quell, they use the word quell, punish people who are found to be Islamophobic. I mean, it's still a motion, it's not a law yet, but have you heard of that, and are you in favor of that type of investment?
I wasn't privy to that information. No, I wasn't privy to the information.
If it were to become law, is that the kind of law that you would obey, or do you think you might not pay much attention to it?
I don't really speak about my political views openly, but it's definitely something I'll look into. 100%. You said it's motion M-103, right?
M-103, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Also, just so you know, there's a World War II tank called M-103. So you got to put, if you're Googling, it's M-103 Canada or something like that. Awesome. First question is, which is more important? Which would you say is more important to you, political correctness or free speech?
Free speech. Free speech.
And have you heard of motion M-103, which is before Parliament right now? It was the MP for this riding, Iqra Khalid, put it before Parliament. It was accepted. It says that they're going to look into Islamophobia and possibly making it a criminal offense to jail anybody who...
I kind of heard about it.
Did you?
I didn't really know everything about it. I just heard that they're trying to ban like hijabs and try to put like a ban on like some Muslim characteristics. I don't really understand it completely, but I heard what you're talking about though.
It basically, I can show you the text of it here. It basically says something like they're going to look into what Islamophobia is, I guess, right? And there's the word quell here, somewhere down in here.
Yeah, I need to quell the increasing public pressure.
Quell is a very violent word. If you look it up, it's very, very violent.
Really? I don't even know what that word is. To be completely honest with you, I don't even know what the word is.
They're going to stop you by force is what it means.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
But like, what are you trying to ask me then?
I'm asking you if you think a law that limits free speech in that way, because, I understand it should maybe be illegal. I don't know if it's illegal, but you shouldn't be able to, if someone is black or white or whatever, it's the way they were born, right? There's nothing they can do about that. Exactly. But religion is an idea. It's just a theory. It's not something that we should not be allowed to criticize, right? It's like if somebody's religion is eating babies, we shouldn't be allowed to criticize that. So the second,
we shouldn't be able to criticize.
right. So the second question is that the kind of law that you think would belong in Canada?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, I'd have to look into it. I don't know. Yeah. Just
myself, as soon as you tell me it limits free speech, okay, it doesn't belong in Canada.
yeah, for sure. Like you should have free speech, but yeah. Well, again, I have to look into it exactly to see what the details of everything is before I make a decision. Yeah.
Okay, and the third question is, if M-103 becomes law in Canada, would you obey it? Would you obey that law?
Well, if it discriminates against my religion, no, I can't really. I wouldn't be able to follow it because you're going against what I believe in.
You're Christian, are you?
No, I'm Muslim.
You're a Muslim as well.
Yeah, exactly. So if it goes against what I'm believing, I would have no right to believe in it at all whatsoever because they're just kind of bashing on my religion for no reason, basically. So I don't know.
Okay, you're confusing me because the law would call for people not to bash you, not to bash your religion, and Canadians, Christians, get bashed all the time, right? You've seen that in today's
It
system.
shouldn't be right to bash on any religion. I'm sorry, I kind of messed up your question, but like, it's not right to bash on any religion, but at the same time, like, I had to look into it, as Rami said, but like, it's not right at all, in my opinion, to bash on anything or anyone, especially in Canada. We're not in America, we're not supposed to be hating on people or anything like that, like.
Again, Satanists, we're not allowed to bash Satanists?
No. Well, like, honestly, this is like, now you're getting too political, now you're getting too into it.
I'm trying to make points that make people think, like people tend to think, oh, blanket statement, let's all be nice to everybody. Nobody can say anything mean. Well, what if they're Satanists? Of course we can say something mean to them.
Yeah, you can have your opinion on them, 100%. You're 100% right. Yeah.
Yeah, if you like, I don't mind if you have your opinion. Like, I don't think it should be illegal to voice an opinion, but at the same time, it depends on the degree of the opinion, I guess. So if it's like, if you could make an opinion or a statement that's too far, it might cross a line. But in general, if like I don't agree with Islam, okay, cool. Like that's.
Are you both local, born in Canada? Yeah. Okay. I'm just surprised that anybody born in Canada is for any kind of limitation on free speech because it's a dangerous slope.
Yeah, like free speech, you can say whatever you want, I guess. Like to a point, to a degree, I guess.
That's where I have a problem. You say to a degree. Who decides what that degree is?
Well, if it's threatening to someone.
Well, physically threatening, that's illegal already. That's illegal already, so we don't need an extra law for it.
Exactly, of course. Yeah, I agree with 100%.
Okay. And the fourth sort of bonus question, if you want to do it. Sorry?
Do you have an example of like what would be an illegal statement?
Oh, if you incite violence against, what would be considered?
Like, what would be against the law? Like right now, like what would be a statement
yeah,
that would be against that law?
if I was to say, or I don't want to say it, but if someone was to say all Muslims should be burned at the stake or something,
Yeah.
Right.
That should be illegal.
Well, actually, you can say that. It's more like you have to be very specific. We should all go out right now and round up Muslims and burn them all at the stake.
Yeah, that's like that's a threat.
That's a threat. That's why it's illegal, right? But somebody saying that I don't believe that Islam is good to women because they force them to wear hijabs in the hot desert heat and stuff like that.
Now, if we're getting really into like details and stuff, then that's not really right because those people that are really basing those questions or like targeting those statements, they don't really know the real facts behind it. So I'm pretty sure those people just don't.
Some people do. Some people do know a lot of those facts.
But like they're not really understanding the fact behind it. Like
They should still be allowed to question. It's just a theory. Religion is just a theory.
If they don't agree with it, that's for them not to agree with it. People that wear hijabs know what they get out of wearing a hijab. So it's a different like kind of like mentality behind it. But people can bash on it. People can say whatever they want towards it. It doesn't really matter. People that do follow Islam, people that do know what Islam and Muslim people are, they know that we're not harmful people. They know that we're not gonna do anything with the hijab on kind of thing. Like it's kind of that mentality you have towards religion in that sense.
Okay, I'm just gonna make one point here. Right now we have the MP for this riding trying to take away our free speech rights. So that's part of Sharia law, really. That gets into Sharia law, right?
Yeah, kind of a little bit. Yeah.
So it's a slow creeping thing, and I've talked to Muslims that they came from across the ocean and they came here to get away from all that really hardline sort of religious doctrine, and but they're afraid to speak out. And well, I appreciate you guys taking the time here. There was a fourth question here, a fourth bonus question. Is there anything you'd like to say to our Prime Minister about M-103? About your feelings about M-103?
About my feelings, don't do it. Don't go through with it, I guess. Like honestly, I have to look into it more. But what you're telling me, at least I'd say just not go through with it. Just keep things how they are.
It's pretty easy to Google it. Just M-103 Canada. There is a World War tank that was an M-103, so you might get a few responses for that. Yeah, okay. And you, would you say to PM?
Again, I just have to look into it and then and make my opinion off that later. But at this moment, I don't know enough to make a good enough of a statement.
Are you a Muslim as well, sir?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So great. You guys look into it and see what I'm saying and what the rest of are what Canadians are worried about. Like I know you guys just want to live your life. You don't want to hassle everybody, right? But when it starts impinging on other Canadians' rights, the rights we've all grown up with and lived with our whole lives, it becomes a matter that people like me want to get the talking going, and it's hard to do because a lot of people are scared to talk, especially young Muslims, or the older ones actually. I think more. Yeah. All right, fellas, enjoy your day. Thank you so much. Correctness.
Free speech.
Okay. And the second question is: have you heard of motion M-103, which is before Parliament right now?
No, I haven't.
Okay, M-103 was put forward by things like that.
I do think it's fitting because if we have to have free speech, because if we put limitations, then it invites groups that are discriminating or racist against a religion.
Wants to make a law saying we can't criticize Islam. Anyway, third question is: would you obey such a law if it was to become law? Because right now it's just a motion.
I don't think it's something that I'd have to obey because I don't have an opinion against Islam or no.
Okay.
I'm accepting of all religions and people.
Even Satanism?
Sure.
You're accepting of Satanism
Yes.
as well?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
How about people who say, well, my religion is to eat babies? Okay, thank you.
I don't be on TV though.
Okay, this lady doesn't want to go on TV. She is dressed in the full black outfit, so she must be Muslim, I guess. Okay, so she doesn't want to be shown on TV, but we'll ask her the questions. Let's get her voice here. Okay, first question is, which is more important to you, free speech or political correctness?
Well, I don't know. Free speech, I suppose.
Free speech, you said. And second question is, there is a motion before Parliament right now that was brought by Iqra Khalid, who runs this riding. The motion is called M-103, and it's to investigate Islamophobia, and they're talking about making laws so that Islam could not be criticized without going to jail. Do you agree with that law in Canada?
I actually don't fully understand your question, but I believe that everyone within their sphere of like, while you're courteous, everybody should have, while you're respectful of other religion as well, you can speak up about your opinions. But if it is under the guise of free speech, one should not insult any religion, be it Hinduism, be it Christianity, or be it Islam, or any other religion.
Why not? Religion is any religion. I'm a Christian. Any religion is just a theory. It's not proven. It's just a theory. So why can't we criticize theories?
That's because that's your opinion. Everybody has their own opinion.
It's not proven, man. You can't prove Islam is real. You can't prove Allah is real. I can't prove God is real. The Jews can't prove their religion is real. It's all just a theory. And to say that people can't criticize theories like ideas, it's like an idea. See, I can understand people saying, no, it's wrong to criticize blacks because they were born black, or Chinese because they were born Chinese. That's the way they were born. They can't change it. But Christianity, Judaism, Islam, it's all just an idea. It's a thought. It's not the way they were born. It can be changed. And so because of that, it's something that should be open to criticism. It's like you put forth a theory about why the planet is cooling or why the planet is warming. Some people don't agree with that, but we should be able to talk about it and criticize where we feel it needs criticism.
Well, sir, you can't prove that. You can't prove cold. You can only say that cold is the absence of heat. So you can't touch cold. You can't feel. You can just feel it. Therefore, the feelings people have, and perhaps your feelings as well. I mean, I can't touch them. I can't see them. But your opinions are important because you feel that.
Sure. Everybody has things that are important to them, but they should be able to defend them. They should be able to say, this is why I believe what I believe, and this is why I want to do what I want to do. And if they don't have, if they don't allow discussion and talk, then it is a limitation of free speech.
Actually, sir, what you just rightly said, and if you heard me correctly the first time, I did say I agree. I agree that everybody should hold their opinion, they should be able to voice it, but they should be able to voice it respectfully. We cannot, under the guise of free speech, insult each other.
Yes, we can. Free speech is not nice, kind speech. Free speech is meant to protect speech that other people can consider hateful. Who decides what is hate speech?
That's what I'm saying. If I am sitting with a Christian or a Hindu or a Muslim or an atheist, I am certainly not going to ever insult them. I am going to stand back and say, sir, maybe that's what you feel. You can't prove that you're right, nor can I, so I respect what you feel. I feel you can say what you want to, and so can I. And hateful speech is when you start insulting other people. You start insulting their ideas, you start insulting their opinions.
Ideas, opinions can be insulted. That's not hate. That's argument. That's debate.
Sir, how do you define insult?
Insult, you can say something like, I don't know, I don't like the burqa in Canada.
That's not insult. That's very respectfully saying something you don't like. That's your opinion. Insult is saying bad words, dirty words, screaming, yelling, raising your voice.
But even those things should not be jailable offenses.
Well, sir, I'm not saying that they're jailable or not. I did not
Motion M-103 does call for the quelling, which is a violent word. They call for the quelling of anybody who criticizes Islamophobia or anybody who has Islamophobia, whatever Islamophobia is.
Well, that's the real thing is, I think that all the politicians sit down and debate what they consider as Islamophobia, not if they should quell it or not. Because unless you define something very properly and reasonably. Right. So if you are saying that Islamophobia, if someone agrees and says, Islamophobia is something like, I don't think that your religion is right, everybody has the right to say it. But if I'm walking down the road and if I wear a hijab and someone pulls off my hijab, or someone I keep on reading,
that would be assault.
So that's what I'm saying, that would be assault. Or somebody, if I'm just walking down the road and somebody starts saying bad words to me, that would be Islamophobia. That may be Islamophobia. Do you think that would be a punishable offense? Somebody should go to jail just because they said some bad words to you? That's why I keep on repeating. I don't know about this law well enough.
Can I show it to you? Do you read English well? Yes, you must. Yeah, you speak though. So it's on the second page there. Oop. So there. Now, as you can see, it calls for in the front of the House, the government should recognize the need to quell. That's a violent word. To stop, to quell means like to stomp the increasing public climate of hate and fear. B, to condemn Islamophobia and all forms of systematic racism and religious. Now, racism is a different thing from Islamophobia because racism, your skin color is race. Islamophobia is an idea, it's a religion, it's a theory. So I really don't agree with that.
You might not agree with it, but if I have a different opinion, like what happened with the Jews in the Holocaust. They were not sort of put in the gas chambers in the first go. People started hating them, okay? And the idea was people started speaking against them and the religion, and that was wrong. That was wrong. You cannot pick on somebody because of, it's like, the minute you say something about homosexuality, everybody says, oh, look at these people, they're speaking about homosexuality. They don't care about other people's, opinions and what their sexual orientation is or whatever. But the minute people hold opinions about religion, be it Islam, be it Christianity, be it Buddhism, be it any religion. And because we have seen what has happened with the Jews in the Holocaust, haven't we? It started with people picking on them and then started hating them. And the next thing was that, and the next thing they went to the gas chambers. And the German people did not hate them in the beginning. But they were slowly and systematically, an idea was put in the head, and then they started looking the other way. You can never look the other way.
I'm not.
Sorry?
I'm looking right at Islam and trying to take away my free speech here in Canada, and I'm out here talking to people about it. Okay, I showed you the law. It talks about Islamophobia. Like they're gonna. What is that? That's like, who gets to decide who's Islamophobic and who goes to jail and who doesn't? It is a crazy notion to think that we can limit free speech that way. In my opinion, it's a crazy notion, and it's all political correctness.
Perhaps they don't. Perhaps they won't take it to that extent. Perhaps what they will be just be doing is putting an idea in a person's head that whenever you start speaking about anybody's religion, then it is wrong. I have lived in my country, and we have lived with Hindus.
What country?
Pakistan. We have lived with Hindus. We have lived with Christians. We have lived with. I am a Muslim. Yeah, and the minute I know Jews as well. They're all great people. The people themselves, be it the layman in any country, be it Muslims, be it Christians, be it Jews, be it they don't hate each other at all. It is someone up there, it's the politics up there, someone on the TV ranting.
They're trying to divide us. I agree with that. I agree with that. Where we differ is that you seem to think that we should be able to put some kind of law in where people can't be mean to each other.
I never said that. Well, I said that. I had never said that. I said that if the people are considering it, maybe even if it doesn't go through, people should at least start discussing it, like I'm discussing it with you, or talking about it, so that the idea that people should even think that they have a right to insult anybody's religion, anybody's personal religion, or anybody's personal English is not right.
No, that's a very slippery slope. The minute you start putting laws in saying we can't talk about certain things, then it becomes such a dangerous thing to our society, to a free and open democratic society. We have to, like, people wonder why we have free speech laws. It's not to talk about puppies. It's to talk about stuff that people don't want to hear. That's what free speech laws are for. For what you might consider hate speech, someone else has a reason to say that. Maybe they had, a black person do something bad to their family when they were young or something like that.
Sir, what's your name?
Sorry?
What is your name?
My name is Mike.
Mike, look, when you go to the parliament, or when you go to Prime Minister's house, or when you go to the church, or any place or you go to a school, or a university, there are certain rules, certain way to behave. You cannot, if you're in a university or in a church, or if you're in the Prime Minister is speaking, or in the Parliament, or the judge is speaking, you cannot just stand there and start screaming and insulting people, saying, "Oh my God, this is free speech." No, that's not. No,
well, you can.
No, you shouldn't. But you shouldn't.
You can.
Well, you can.
Legally, you can. You don't go to jail. That's the way Canada works. That's the way it's always worked.
Well,
have you ever watched the Parliament guys? They yell at each other all the time.
You see, the problem is, sir, there's police in every country. The reason is that people are supposed to follow a law, whatever law there is. Okay? So, I do not, because laws are made to let people, help people do the right thing. Certainly, laws are not.
That's what the government might tell you. It's not necessarily always, that's what I believe. I don't believe the government is always after our best interests.
That's what I'm saying, sir. That's your opinion. And you have a valid right to your opinion, and so does everybody else.
Right. And somebody can criticize my opinion, and I don't say, no, you're not allowed to do that.
Well, again, I'm saying the first thing everybody needs to do is define what Islamophobia is.
I don't think it's worth the time. It's like, why don't we figure out what white phobia is? Everybody's against white people now. Why don't we figure out what Jew phobia is? Why don't we study what Sikh phobia is? There's all kinds of people that have different opinions about these things. There's all kinds of people that have different things. And I'm sorry that you're laughing, but it's true what I just said. Is it not?
Actually, it's true. But Mike, you again have to understand that everybody discuss what is the pressing need at the moment. I mean, if you are at home,
you think investigating Islamophobia is a pressing need at the moment?
I'm not saying that. Don't put words in my mouth. I'm just saying. I'm trying to tell you that whatever a pressing problem is, whichever religion it is, if someone's church is being if somebody's church is being burnt down, then that is something you need to address. You cannot just let it go. Or if someone's synagogue is being vandalized, that is the pressing need of the moment. So it changes.
But if somebody says the Jews are cheap people, which everybody says, or Judaism is a false religion, is that something that people should go to jail for?
I repeat, sir, you have to define, the law has to define what Islamophobia is.
There are laws in the books that already take care of threats, like physical threats. There are already laws in the books that I can't say, I can't post on Facebook and say, let's round up all the Hindus and throw them in a pit and burn them to death. I can't do that. That's inciting hatred. But, and those laws are on the books, so there is no need for this extra M-103 law. And by the way, you were not aware of M-103 when I asked that question, yeah. And this is in your writing. This is the PM in your writing.
That's what I'm saying. This is why I'm not giving a clear opinion about it, because I don't know anything about it.
That's one of the big.
I have to read about it.
That's one of the problems. It's a law that impacts Canadian rights, our rights that we've had for hundreds of years, over 100 years, and it's trying to take away that right. For the third question, I would just ask if M-103 came to be law, because right now it's just a motion, it's not a law yet. So if it came to be an actual law where we're not allowed to criticize religions without being thrown in jail, well, they do mention it. I got the law right here. Oh, I showed it to you, didn't I? They do mention Islamophobia specifically. They don't mention any other religion but Islam. But it is supposed to be for all religions. That's what they're saying. But it looks like it's mostly targeted, or not targeted, but they want to make it for Islam, so Islam doesn't have to listen to criticism. Now, this is one of the complaints the Canadians have, and we're a country that is born on freedom. We're built on freedom, and freedom of speech is part of that freedom. It's like one of the very core concepts of our democratic society. And so when we see this Iqra Khalid, the MP of this neighbor, and she is Muslim, she puts forth this motion to try to limit our ability, our rights to speak freely about Islam or any other religion. Canadians get their backs up. It's like they're trying to take away our free speech. And so this is why I'm out here today, to find out how Canadians feel about it. And I'm just wondering if you would obey that law. If it became law, would you actually obey it yourself?
What do you mean obey that?
If they make it a law that you can't criticize any other religions, if you go to jail or you get charged for criticizing religions, like saying... I
like to say that I don't need a law to do that. I would say that first of all, I'm proud to be a Canadian. I'm proud to be in this country, because I've been a long time, and I have never, ever, ever encountered hatred from any Canadian whatsoever, ever.
So why do we need M-103 then?
That is what I'm trying to say to you. I have never encountered it. I repeat the fact that I don't know much about this law. Second thing is, I do not need a law to tell me that I cannot speak against anybody's religion. I think that's morality. I think you're right. Perhaps you're right. I don't know, because I'll be very frank. You don't need my manners, my upbringing. I reply to anyone of any religion. Perhaps you might be talking, like I keep on repeating, that they are talking about someone inciting hatred against somebody else. Maybe it's coming to that much. I don't know.
Well, as you read in the thing, it mentions Islamophobia. So it's like it's focused on Islam. And this is really worrying Canadians. And I know that most Muslims are very good people. I have friends that are Muslims.
Let me continue.
Okay.
In Europe, at one time, it was all about the Jews. Everything about was Jews. Okay? So that was being mentioned again and again and again. So when we talk about that period, we keep on talking about Judaism. We keep on talking about Jews. Okay? So perhaps right now, maybe I don't know, because I've never encountered it. Perhaps right now, people are inciting hatred against Islam. I've never seen it here, personally.
That's good to hear.
I haven't. I feel happy and safe here. I dress up like this very, very openly. Even
Do you ever wear the full?
No. So, what I'll just say is that maybe you're right. Maybe it doesn't even need to be made a law. Maybe people need to understand that this is morality. This is what people. And frankly speaking, I think Canadians are good people. Most of them are teaching their children this anyway at home. They are not. It's a multicultural society. Everybody of different races, mostly. That's what I've encountered here. My children live here. They've chosen to live here. There's freedom of speech. People are very nice. They tolerate each other. They respect you. And so
You too. It was good talking to you.
yeah, but what do most people think about this?
About M-103?
Yeah.
It depends who it is. Most people who weren't born in Canada, they don't have the same love of free speech that we grew up with, and so they don't really understand. What do you mean? Like, so when you say which is more important to you, free speech or political correctness, they're sort of indoctrinated into thinking, oh well, political correctness means that I shouldn't be mean to people, right? I should be nice.
No, but I'll tell you off the record. Like if we have Hindu friends and we know that they worship the cow, we're not going to eat beef in front of them.
I might.
Well, you
If
might.
it's
I would.
If it's open public property,
Maybe.
if I'm at their house, no, certainly not.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Na?
okay.
So I would not. I mean, like, I would not make it a point to sort of, like, want to. I mean, I know it'll hurt their feelings. I know. I mean, this is morality, Mike. This is not politics. This is simple manners. I mean, I wouldn't do it.
No, I understand, but it shouldn't. I think well, it's not again a different. It's just we get to this level where it's like you think we shouldn't do that, we shouldn't do this, right? But it's free speech. Like I say, free speech. One person might think what you're saying is hate speech, but really you're just saying something that happened to you. Like maybe a fact, and people call that hate speech. This is the world we're running into now.
No, but Mike, I'll tell you one thing very clearly: that nobody's a fool. Nobody's stupid. Well, maybe you're right. Okay, mostly intelligent people. They're mostly intelligent people here. If you are generally nice to me, and if you ask me something about my religion, even in a mocking way, I say, oh, Mike doesn't mean it. He's a good guy. So what, he's asked me one question. But if generally it is your habit to keep on insulting people, religion, or behaving badly, I might take it personally when you ask me a question. So
Still doesn't mean I belong in jail.
yeah, if it's just a
That's
question,
the way it works here.
yes, if you're mocking, or if you're a bit,
Doesn't matter. Still don't belong in jail.
So what, Mike? I think
It's only if we physically threaten other people. That's when you go to jail.
Mike, that's what I'm saying. First, what you must do is, before asking these questions, you must make it very clear what the word quell means.
I tell people right away.
Yeah, and I will make it very clear what Islamophobia means, in your opinion. In anybody's opinion, that rule should be clear. So when your limits are defined, then only can you decide, take another step.
I would not agree with that unless they said, well, we're going to define Judaism phobia. We're going to define white phobia. We're going to define Sikhophobia.
Don't define Islamophobia. Define what hatred against any religion. Any religion.
See, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. We already have laws to stop the violence, so it's a waste of time, and it's brought by a Muslim to stop people from criticizing Islam. So I'm just letting you know that as a Canadian, that
I don't think that they are, again I repeat that, if they are using Islamophobia for just plain criticism. It has to be more than that.
well, thank you for your time. Thank you. There she goes. Not a bad lady. She, she has some openness. Being Canadian, I think she said she's been here a long time. Not born here, been here a long time. Pakistan, I think she said she came from. But yeah, they come up to this point where they say, yeah, free speech is good. We've got to have free speech up until a point. And then once they start hurting people's feelings, no. And that's not how it works. Hi, ma'am. 3 quick polling questions? No, thank you. Hi, sir. 3 quick polling questions. 3 quick questions from my YouTube. No? Okay. So yeah, they come up to a point and it's like, oh well, you know, free speech, yes, unless you really start hurting people's feelings. Well, that's what free speech is about. You know, it's not all about candy and puppies and rainbows. It's free speech is protected because it's the stuff that people don't want to hear that has to be protected, not puppies and things like that. Anyway. Speech.
I think free speech.
Free speech, okay. And second question is, have you heard of motion M-103?
No.
Okay, that's a motion brought before Parliament by the MP for this riding that this mall is in, which her name is Erin, and she's brought this motion before Parliament, which they accepted and looking into. The motion basically is looking into Islamophobia. They're going to study Islamophobia and decide if the people should go to jail or be punished. He uses the word, I should be talking to this, he uses the word quell, which means like to violently punish people, violently stop people who are Islamophobic and say things that are hurtful to Muslims. Do you agree that a law like that belongs in Canada?
Yeah, I think because everyone have right and everyone deserves equal opportunities and right in this country, as Canada is a multicultural country. So I think that this law should be passed.
So the law is to stop us from being able to criticize Islam. And Islam is not a race, it's just a theory, right? Just like Christianity is a theory. So it's like saying that we can't criticize a theory. And you think that's okay?
Yeah, we can't. I mean, I'm against like Islam is have to get equal opportunities. So I think that's not okay. To criticize the theory, I think that's not okay.
You don't think it's okay to criticize religions, all religions? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Okay. All right. What about Satanism?
Yeah.
Is it okay, or can we not criticize Satanism?
I don't know much about that because I'm
worshiping the devil. Do you think it's okay for us to not? Well, it's a religion. Right. And so if the law says we're going to go to jail for criticizing religion, we can go to jail for criticizing the devil. That's one way to look at it. The third question is if M-103 becomes law, if it becomes law that in Canada you could go to jail for criticizing religion, will you obey that law, or is it a law that you would probably break?
I will obey.
You'll probably break.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for your time, sir. Thank you. Have a good day. You got a voice, you can talk, right?
Voice.
Okay, I'll make them easy. Okay, so the first question is, which is more important to you? Excuse me, get that square. Which is more important to you, free speech or political correctness?
Free speech.
Thank you. And second question is, have you heard of M-103?
No, I have not.
M-103 is a motion brought by the MP for this riding. Her name is Erin. She's a Muslim who came here from Pakistan many years ago. And it's a motion to investigate, they want to research Islamophobia. They actually put that in the bill, the motion M-103, to investigate and research Islamophobia. And they want to quell anybody who is considered Islamophobic. Now, the word quell is a very violent word. It means to stop with violence. And so it's very worrying to a lot of Canadians that this bill is even brought before Canada, and it was accepted for further research by the Parliament. You had not heard of it. Do you think that a motion like that, and I have the writing here if you'd like to look at it, the text of it, do you think a motion that limits free speech like that can it exist alongside our Canadian values?
Well, I think it's horrible that they stop someone from like having the right to to say what they want, and they do it violently I think it's horrible.
We're talking arresting violent too. And so if M-103 becomes law, so it becomes against the law, punishable offense to you could go to jail for criticizing any religion, not just Islam. Would you obey that law, or maybe not?
Sorry, what?
The law that we spoke of, M-103, if it becomes actual law, because right now it's just a motion, they're just talking about it. But if it becomes actual law, where you could be arrested for criticizing Islam or criticizing Christianity, but most likely Islam, would you obey that law?
Well, I don't criticize to begin with, so I would obey it, obviously. Yeah.